Today, I'm going to talk about the very important aspect of blood pressure. This topic is very near and present to many people with executive lifestyle, and some of us could also be dealing with it as a lifestyle disease together with other diseases like cholesterol and diabetes. The caption of this presentation is blood pressure, don't waste time, act on it now. And I really mean it because often blood pressure is not given the due importance and what it does. Blood pressure is a major, major factor of cardiac disease. I'll talk about it more deeply in the presentation. What is blood pressure? It is the force of blood pushing against the walls of the arteries as the heart pumps. What's important is how does the body work to control blood pressure? Before I get to that, let's talk about why blood pressure is important and why is it important to act now. To do that, we need to first look at how the blood flows through the arteries and cholesterol deposits fall. When blood flows through the pulmonary arteries and branches, turbulence occurs where the vessels divide. This turbulence reduces the shear force along the artery walls, creating areas where the blood moves more slowly. These low shear zones are prone to LDL cholesterol sticking to the endothelial lining. Over time, these deposits form plaque, particularly areas where the artery bifurcates. And what is the role of blood pressure here? High blood pressure plays a key role in worsening this process. First, it damages the endothelial cells, making it easier for the LDL to penetrate the artery walls. The force from high pressure also triggers inflammation, speeding up the accumulation and hardening of the plaques. Over time, these plaques narrow the arteries, restricting the blood flow, leading to conditions of what we call arteriosclerosis. And as the walls harden, the blood pressure becomes worse and worse. So even with low LDL levels, if one is having on and off high blood pressure, the plaque formation continues. How does the body control blood pressure? When one exercises or feels stress, there are bioreceptors in the heart and in the arteries. And the sympathetic nervous system triggers these receptors and speeds up the heart and also constricts the arteries, increasing the cardiac output and blood pressure. And when you rest, the parasympathetic nervous system slows down the heart, reducing the pressure. This continuous repeated activation of the sympathetic nervous system, an outcome of chronic stress in the body, results in the body continuously trying to maintain blood pressure. And over time, if this system is overwhelmed, the body cannot maintain the blood pressure within limits. You have a case of excessive blood pressure in the body. The other aspect which impacts blood pressure is the blood volume. If the blood volume is low from things like dehydration, the kidney retains water by reducing urine production, increasing blood volume and pressure. On the other side, if blood volume is high, the kidney excretes excess water as urine to lower pressure. Adequate hydration and optimum sodium and potassium intake plays an important role in helping the body maintain healthy blood pressure. Here again, there are bioreceptors that release hormones, which tells the kidney what to do. If the body has to either lower blood pressure or increase blood pressure, and that happens by managing the blood volume. It is well known that consuming moderate amount of sodium, maintaining regular exercise and practicing mindful exercises can help to manage the body's blood pressure. However, what is often overlooked is the critical role insulin plays. Persistently elevated insulin cause significant damage to the blood vessels. Before diving into that, let's explore the whole aspect of blood pressure medication and how it works and what is the long-term impact of the medication on the body and how these impact in the body has to be dealt with if somebody is trying to reverse blood pressure and get off the medication. The BP meds work on the three functions of the body that controls blood pressure. One is the heart rate and cardiac output. The second one is the blood volume. And the third one is the vessel and diameter. The first group of medication are the beta blockers. I've added some of the popular names. They slow down the heart rate and reduce the force with which the heart beats. This decreases the amount of blood the heart pumps, which is basically the cardiac output, which in turn lowers blood pressure. Second group of medication is diuretics, and there are some examples mentioned here. This medication works on the blood volume. Diuretics helps the kidney remove extra salt and water from the body. This reduces the total blood volume, which then makes the heart pump with less pressure and helps lower blood pressure. The next group is ACE inhibitors, and these are quite popular. These block an enzyme called ACE. These enzymes are triggered by the bioreceptors, which are made active by the sympathetic nervous system. What ACE inhibitors do is block these enzymes, and as a result, it prevents from the tightening of the blood vessels. ACE inhibitors also reduce fluid retention, which lowers blood volume. The next group of BP meds are the angiotensin II receptor blockers, or ARBs. They block the effect of a hormone that narrows blood vessels, which is angiotensin II. This prevents the blood vessels constriction, allowing blood vessels to remain open and relaxed, which lowers blood pressure. The next group, again, a very popular medication, are calcium channel blockers. They prevent calcium from entering the cells of the heart and the blood vessels. Calcium is needed for the muscles to contract. So blocking it from the blood vessels relax and widen, which lowers the blood pressure. The final group of medication are the alpha blockers. They block the receptors that cause blood vessel muscles to tighten. So when these receptors are blocked, the blood vessels relax and widen, which reduces the blood pressure. What is important to think is that these medicines interfere with the body's normal process of controlling blood pressure. I would say these medications actually overtake the normal processes of the body. When they do that, that process of the body actually stops functioning normally. So when you take the medicines off, you won't have that process working. There will be a big rebound of blood pressure. And that is the biggest challenge which one will have when you use this medication for a longer time. And the other problem is if that process is responsible for a downstream process, which is required by another system or process, the third process is actually compromised. The main organs which are involved in controlling blood pressure is the heart, the kidney, and the whole pulmonary artery systems of veins and arteries. By interfering in their normal process, what these organs have to do is work excessively at the background. So over long term, there is a strain and damage. If I can share an analogy, we all know that if we listen to loud music, we do get deaf. Okay. One way of avoiding that is basically reducing the music. The other way of looking at it is put the music louder. Even if you have become deaf, you will still listen to the music. By using these medications, what we are telling the body is take bigger stress and don't bother about the damage which is creating. And that's the impact of the blood pressure medications on the body. Let's talk about what's the role of insulin. Many people with hypertension also face with issues with lipid levels, excess glucose. However, doctors often treat these as separate, independent conditions, prescribing different medications for each. But if you take a closer look, it will reveal that there is a common underlying factor, and that's excess insulin and insulin resistance. Insulin is a hormone primarily responsible for regulating blood sugar. It also plays a critical role in blood pressure regulation through multiple mechanisms. The first thing is fat accumulation. Insulin promotes fat storage, particularly visceral fat, which is metabolically active and releases pro-inflammatory cytokines. They disrupt the vascular function and contribute to hypertension. The other thing is the impact it has on the kidneys. Insulin promotes sodium reabsorption in the renal tubes. Excess sodium retention increases blood volume, which raises blood pressure. This effect is amplified in insulin resistance individuals, where compensatory excessive insulin, which the body has to release, exaggerates the sodium retention. The third thing is the impact insulin has on the heart. Insulin impacts the cardiac function by alerting glucose uptake and fat metabolism. In insulin resistance, the heart relies more on fatty acids, and this leads to more inefficiencies. The fourth aspect is the impact insulin has on blood vessels itself. When the body suffers from insulin resistance, endothelial dysfunction occurs, and this leads to reduced nitric oxide production in the body, leading to increased vascular stiffness, resistance, and that elevates blood pressure. The final thing where insulin impacts is the nervous system itself. Insulin stimulates the autonomous nervous system, especially the sympathetic nervous system, leading to the constrictions of the blood vessels. This again increases the cardiac output and elevated blood pressure. And chronic overactivation of the sympathetic nervous system is a key driver for hypertension and also insulin resistance over time. Insulin resistance fosters this whole pro-inflammatory environment, enhancing oxidative stress and promotes dysregulation of various hormones which control blood pressure. And these factors perpetuate a cycle of vascular damage and hypertension. Having said all this, how does one get to not going down the path of blood pressure dysregulation? It comes down to simple things of engineering your lifestyle, which includes diet, exercise regime, and managing recovery and sleep. And so that the body can get back to its normal homeostatic parameters. And if you don't know what homeostatic parameters are, please go and watch my other video series on lifestyle engineering program. And there I've described very clearly what homeostasis is and why it is so important to define what a healthy body is and what to target. And if you have managed to get the body within the homeostatic parameters, the next step then is to working with doctors, your cardiologist, to a program to progressively reduce the medication. And let me tell you, it can be done. I've worked on it and I'm still working on it. It's a long, patient process and the body can achieve those aspects. To get to that, what are the top 3 things one should focus on? Number 1 is just clean up your diet. Blood pressure management starts with what you put on your plate. Transitioning to a diet of whole, unprocessed food that supports metabolic health and stabilizes energy levels. If you go into my lifestyle engineering video series, I talk in more detail of how one can clean up the diet and manage the diet. Key aspect of that is removing sugar, processed food, high sodium items, which all helps you reduce inflammation and helps the body achieve homeostasis. To that, one needs to also add behavioral habits like meal spacing, eating slowly, avoiding late night meals. These things improve digestions and insulin sensitivity, both which are very, very crucial for blood pressure control. The second aspect is building strength through progressive exercise. Regular strength training not only improves cardiovascular health, but also helps to regulate blood pressure. It strengthens muscles and improves circulation. The key is progressive loading, slowly increasing weights or resistance to challenge your muscles without overtraining. Recovery between workout ensures that you avoid burnout while reaping the benefits of consistent activity. And third, I should make this the first, this is the biggest, the most important aspect is mastering recovery and adaptation. And this impacts blood pressure management immensely. Whenever you get into doing lifestyle changes, particularly dietary adjustments like reducing carbs, it initially puts stress on the body. And recovery strategies are essential for allowing your body to adapt. Okay, these practices reduces the hormones like cortisol, a stress hormone directly linked to hypertension, helping the body transition to a more balanced state. Finally, by focusing on these three pillars, most people can see significant improvement in the blood pressure, and I can vouch for this. I hope this video has helped you. And if you think it has, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and look forward to my next video. Thank you for watching.